A 19-year-old factory worker finishes his shift, he goes home, goes to sleep, and just never wakes up.
And he isn't the only one.
He's just one of three identical, completely unexplained fatalities at the exact same facility. We're looking at a massive stack of investigative notes and reports on Northvolt today, and our mission for this deep dive is to figure out how Europe's great green battery hope basically spiraled into a catastrophic bankruptcy.
And, surrounded by a terrifying medical mystery, no less. To really grasp the scale of this collapse, you have to look at what Northvolt was actually built to be. This wasn't some scrappy garage startup. I mean, it was heavily backed by billions of euros.
Championed by the biggest automakers on the planet.
Yeah, exactly. All to break our reliance on fossil fuels and foreign supply chains. But, well, hype and capital don't automatically manufacture complex lithium-ion cells at scale.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You read through these financial timelines, and it is pretty clear the operational reality just hit a brick wall.
Well, they faced a cooling EV market, sure. I mean, the real killer was their inability to produce usable batteries fast enough to fend off established Chinese competitors.
Yeah, that production bottleneck is really the vital piece of the puzzle here. It actually culminated in BMW abruptly canceling a massive €2 billion order. Suddenly, the cash burn becomes entirely unsustainable, and the timeline of the fallout is just brutal. I mean, you have the CEO stepping down literally hours before Northvolt officially filed for bankruptcy protection.
It almost feels like they were handed this impossible mandate to single-handedly save the European EV supply chain, which forced a deeply reckless scaling strategy.
The internal reports document 26 severe accidents since 2019 alone. And we aren't just talking about trips and falls here. Battery manufacturing involves highly toxic solvents, heavy metals, and massive high-voltage thermal runaway risks. So when a company accelerates production without standardized, mature safety protocols, the margin for error just completely disappears.
Which brings us back to those three workers, because they didn't die in industrial explosions. They finished their shifts, went to sleep in their own beds, and simply didn't wake up.
It got so concerning that Toyota actually pulled their own personnel out of the facility entirely. Meanwhile, the Swedish government ministers who previously championed the plant, well, they've gone completely silent.
And what's fascinating here is the total disconnect in how these deaths were classified. Local police recognized the pattern immediately and opened a formal manslaughter investigation.
But on the corporate side, Northvolt leadership officially dismissed the cluster of fatalities as nothing more than a tragic coincidence.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting, though. The police ultimately had to completely close that manslaughter case. Why? Because the medical examiners couldn't find a definitive cause of death.
That's the terrifying gap in Europe's nascent battery supply chain. We are dealing with novel chemical cocktails and industrial processes where the long-term biological interactions just aren't fully mapped out in standard medical tests.
Oh, I see. So the tests don't even know what to look for.
The prosecutor made a stunning admission here. In 30 years of practice, they had never encountered such an unclear chain of responsibility. Without a proven specific medical cause of death directly linked to a factory chemical, the legal system simply cannot establish corporate liability.
So because the science of the autopsy can't keep up with the cutting-edge chemistry of the factory floor, a heavily regulated multi-billion-dollar facility just completely evades legal accountability.
And that leaves these grieving families with absolutely zero answers.
It's so tragic. You're staring at the grim reality of a closed police case, zero criminal charges, and a totally bankrupt enterprise.
3 young men went to sleep after their shifts, building the very batteries meant to save our environment, and they never woke up.
And the complex system designed to protect them couldn't even explain how it happened.
It's incredibly unsettling.
It leaves you with a lingering thought to mull over on your own. If the very corporations trusted to build our sustainable future cannot sustain basic human safety, who is truly paying the price for the green transition?